remarks of my first pet, Sparky, who passed away on exact date November 11, 2011, and also the Remembrance Day of all the veterans. My dog, he passed away from cancer. It was a really sad story. The last time I saw him was on his bed, and I gave him a huge hug and goodbye. I was going to work, and the next day I found out he passed away. But he had a good life. He was a happy dog. He was always running around, doing crazy things. He one time left the house on his own, and no one knew where to find him. And by the front of the door where we lived, he was standing there just waiting for us to open the door for him. So that was a moment that we'll never forget. And after a few years gone by, we decided to get another dog. Her name was Sassy. Sassy became a huge part of the family. She makes us laugh every day. Even though Sassy became this adorable best friend in the family, Sparky will always still remain in our hearts, in our memories from this day on. And that's what this day is all about, just to remember family members and the ones who stay with us close. So if you have any families that you want to wish within the comments down below, give it a like, and I hope you enjoyed today's vlog.
Rosie, every time I'm here, I learn a bit more or something new about our war history, and we have some living examples of that. Well, I guess, you know, what you're wearing is a living example here. We have two people from, well, you can tell us where you're from.
I'm from Vancouver.
And
I'm from Angus, outside of Barrie.
And you're wearing the uniform of Canadian War Sisters. This was the uniform that, Canadian
Nursing Sisters.
Nursing Sisters. Thank you for helping me with that. This is the uniform that they would have worn as nurses during the Second World War. So during the First World War. So I mean, I guess maybe tell me about the uniform and tell me about the role that these nurses played during that conflict.
Sure. The nurses in the First World War were actually the first women to bear rank in the Canadian Army. They were the first in the entire British Empire to hold rank. They traveled overseas. There were almost 3,000 of them total. About 2,500 went overseas and served right at the front lines. They were 3 to 5 miles from the front, receiving wounded from the field and helping patch them up. And they also worked in hospitals farther back, hospitals in England, hospitals in Canada, and also on hospital trains and boats that transported the wounded.
And just to make it clear, you have been given permission to wear these uniforms. Can you just...
Yes, yeah. The Surgeon General of Canada was very kind to us and offered us gave us the permission to wear the rank and the badging, as the badging is now defunct. It's now the Royal Canadian Army Medical Corps, as we produce historical education for anybody who wants to listen, really. But it's clear that we have not served. We don't deserve thanks for our service or anything of that nature. We are historians given permission to spread the history and teach people about the medical corps.
And just, Vicky, what do people say when they see you in these uniforms? What have people been saying today?
Not too many people have commented today. I've had some currently serving members and veterans ask, what the uniform is all about. Are you really a nurse? And I'm proud to tell them about, the Canadian nursing sisters in the First World War, the things they did, and the women whose footsteps we're following and hoping to honor them.
Well, thank you for sharing that piece of history with us, and thank you so much for, doing what you're doing here today. Thank you so much. And Rosie, I'll just throw it back to you.
David, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I learn a lot every Remembrance Day too, but mostly just because I talk to Tim the whole time and he teaches me a lot. It's like my little history class I get every year. We are obviously talking about past conflicts, but we're also talking today about people who are serving, continue to serve, particularly those people who are currently serving, currently deployed. There are approximately 2,700 members of the Canadian Armed Forces who are deployed in places all over the world. You can see that on the screen there on the map. Those are all those red dots signify places where Canadian Armed Forces are serving in different ways. One of those places, and you heard Mr. Barber talk a little bit about Ukraine, is Operation Unifier, which is Canada's mission to train Ukrainian soldiers, train Ukrainians to become soldiers, something that they have successfully done. I think we're up to 38,000 people who have been trained by Canadian Armed Forces, and one of those people joins us now from Poland, from Warsaw, Poland, and it's Chief Warrant Officer Michael Thompson. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you too.
Give us a sense of what you are doing in Poland on this mission that you're on.
Like you said, Poland, and not only in Poland, in other parts of Europe, we have over 300 personnel deployed. And our mandate is to give military training to the armed forces of Ukraine. And essentially, they're using this training to defend, or the Ukrainians using this training to defend their sovereignty and security and freedoms.
Wow. And what kind of difference would you say it has made?
Well, I would say it would make a significant difference. You know, Canada and its military will always have a role in peace and security in the world. And as for Ukraine itself, Canada has donated a significant amount of aid and equipment. And like you mentioned, we have trained over 30,000 Ukrainians.
Incredible.
You know, if there's peace and security in the world, then there's peace and security in Canada.
You have served in, I'm just going to list a few of those places because it's quite remarkable, Chief Warrant Officer, Iraq, Bosnia, Afghanistan, and now you're in Poland. Your operation has been extended now until 2026. I know you have a wife and a daughter, and I wonder how hard it is to be away from them and how you're thinking about them today.
Yeah, it is difficult, especially all the people that we leave behind. I know the soldiers, especially today, kind of reflect on all their friends and family.
Yeah.
For myself, my daughter, she has supported me through a number of missions. My spouse also, and you know, I'm just really grateful that I get support from them and from Canadians as a whole.
I spoke to Gloria Hooper about a week ago. I went out to Manitoba to do an interview with her. She's a Silver Cross mother and the mother of Chris Holpina, who was a sapper in Bosnia. And I understand that you served with him, that you knew him too.
Absolutely. I didn't serve on his mission, and I was at the regiment, and you know, on that unfortunate day of that accident that took his life, it really affected the regiment, and 2 Combat Engineer Regiment honors him and remembers him every year.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of talk about different conflicts in the world right now, certainly where you are and in the Middle East, and I wonder what that makes you think of in terms of the importance of your job right now.
I think, you know, all CAF members, we just need to stay the course, right? We need to, you know, support our allies. We need to represent what is right and just represent Canada to the best of our abilities. It's not, like I said before, it's a lot easier for us to do what we do. It's only with the support that Canadians give us and
Yeah.
friends and family allows us to believe and do great things. And I would imagine most veterans would say this, and you know, from World War I, World War II,
Yeah.
is we're willing to do it, but we just need everybody's support.
Do you love your job, Chief Warrant Officer?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know there's FaceTime and things, but do you want to say anything to your wife and your daughter while I've got you on national TV?
Yeah, absolutely. So for my spouse, Jules, she is a first responder and in the reserves, and I'd just like to thank you for your service. For my daughter, you know, thank you so much for all your support during the different operations and deployments. And I would like to thank, obviously, my friends and family from coast to coast, but also my dad. My dad is a retired service member, spent 37 years in the service, and I'd like to thank him for his service.
Well, we're going to thank you, Chief Warrant Officer Thompson. Thank you for your service, for what you're doing over there, and thanks for taking time out of a very important job just to talk with me on TV, but important to think of all the people working so hard even now. So thank you for your service, and on this Remembrance Day, lots of people sending you, so stay safe over there. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay. Always love to talk to someone who's actually out there doing these jobs that we're talking about that are so hard, and they are full of humility in these moments. Let's go back to David Common now.
And Rosie, there's so much serenity in cemeteries. I think of the cemeteries, just off of the D-Day beaches in France, First World War cemeteries in Belgium, and how manicured they are, how well kept they are. But of course, there are veterans of wars who end up in cemeteries like this one in Richmond Hill. And you see the poppy here today. So how does that happen? It is part of the No Stone Left Alone program. And we've been seeing some Air Cadets, people like Warrant Officer Second Class Lee, and your first name is? Daisy Lee. And you're part of this program. And remind me, what is it? How has this come to be?
So basically, we have been a part of a lot of cemeteries trying to decorate and identify veterans in various locations, and we're commemorating them when maybe their families are unavailable, or just during this remembrance event to have a place for them in our ceremonies.
And so if I just kneel down here and I show what you've got the poppy, you've got the Canadian flag, and this is for a veteran. Right next to it is the stone that you very often see for Lieutenant Edward Little, who died in 1956. And it really does give you this sense, I think, of that the sacrifice as well as the service is in communities right across this country.
Yeah, I think it's really important that they are commemorated and their service is not forgotten, especially because in the cemetery we're here right now, we have a lot of veterans from both world wars. We have veterans from the Korean War, the War of 1812, and sometimes they are overlooked, sometimes because their graves are unidentifiable. So by doing this, we basically bring back this memory and we commemorate them properly.
Well, Daisy, you're 17 years old. It's remarkable that you're doing this. Thank you for doing this. I know that families certainly must appreciate this, and on a day like this, it's very important for the country, so thank you so much. Rosie, we'll put it back to you right here from the Richmond Hill Cemetery just after the service nearby.
David Common, the host of Metro Morning, but very, very happy to have you on a special day like this, given all of your knowledge of these kinds of things, David. Thank you so much for doing this. Let's go now to David Thurton for a final 30-second thought there, David.
Hey, Rosie, yeah, I'm just struck by how far families come all the way to the National Capital Region just to, mark Remembrance Day. We spoke with one mom who booked, a hotel a year in advance. They came out in large numbers, even on our overcast day, which is now ending, on a beautiful note with the sun peeking through. Struck by all of that. It's
Thank you, David.
Very good Remembrance Day.
Thanks for being here again this year. Really appreciate it. Hannah, quick thought from you, please.
It's just a thrill to be here and be a partner with you and everyone else on this show and share the stories of those veterans who come out and pay tribute to colleagues, comrades who maybe didn't make it back home.
Thank you, Hannah. Always appreciate you being here. And Tim, a final thought from you quickly.
Thank you, Rosie, for keeping us moving in the right direction, and it was great to be with you. And I think this is a day, if there's a final thought, where one feels the weight of history. It is here with us, and thank you.
Thank you for being here, Tim. Glad you're back with us this year. The annual Remembrance Day special is one of the most important broadcasts that we bring to you here at the CBC and to the whole country. This year, we are also marking and thanking someone who has worked at the CBC for 47 years and who chose this special, this important day to mark his last day. It's that gentleman you see behind my camera right there, Keith Whalen. Thank you for making the public broadcaster better every year that you work with us, and thanks for making Remembrance Day special. Thank you for watching this Remembrance. It is important to all of us, and we hope that it was important to you. We will give the final word to soldiers and veterans now.
It is very important for Canadians to remember all the soldiers and sailors and airmen who lost their lives and gave their lives up. It was to protect our country.
My message to Canadians would be to thank a veteran and take the time out of your day to remember, reflect on the privileges that we have here and the freedoms that we have here and the cost of those.
For me personally, I remember Sergeant Andrew Doiron, Master Mr. Paquette, Master Pete Duff. Those are close people I knew that have passed, so I take the day to really reflect or remember on them.
Corporal Stephen Buzan died in 2007 in Afghanistan. The fact that we're from the same small town really brings home what it means to make that ultimate sacrifice.
I'd be thinking about my own family, from the War of 1812 right up to my own son, James, who recently passed away. His funeral is the 8th of November, which is actually Indigenous Veterans Day, so that's a very significant point in my life that I will be remembering.
November the 11th, of course, that was instituted after the First World War. A lot of people have lost their lives. We should certainly remember it.